Okay, so in the AI agency space, I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos from YouTubers who are selling courses, telling you to build automations like this one here and sell them for $4,000 or $5,000. And I'm here to tell you that that doesn't work. I've scaled my agency to about 80K per month. As you can see from my subscribers, I obviously don't make money from selling courses, but you can see here these are probably the common scenarios or these automations, maybe a little more complex than this, that people are telling you that you can sell. It's not true. It's not going to work. But nevertheless, you can still make a lot of money from AI automations. This is what does work. You have automations like this, in which you can connect a bunch of automations or a couple of automations together to make an operating system. This is what businesses want. To sell these to businesses is going to be extremely difficult. I've done it before. I've started out like this, and it's extremely difficult because these are all custom builds. So whatever a client says, can you build this? You're building it for them. It's not scalable because it takes about a week to build these things. It also takes about a week to test them, and then also because it's a completely new build, you're always going to be monitoring it, fixing bugs, and all of these things, which makes this completely unscalable. And if you want to start a real business, then this one, in my opinion, will not work. I've done it for 8 months. I've wasted a lot of time doing it, and in the verdict I've came to is that doesn't work. What we have done is we selected a niche. We niched down into real estate, and we chose these kind of well, not these exact scenarios, but we chose kind of 4 or 5 general concepts or general automations, and we've connected them all up and connected them together via Lovable, and that basically displays them as a nice dashboard. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we can do this from a basic level, how you can create automations, how you can connect them to Lovable, and basically create operating systems. So to start off, what is Lovable? Lovable is this app over here in which it builds front-end websites or apps for you. We're going to use it to create an app, and in this video we're going to create one for a recruiter or a recruitment agency. So what you would do is you come over to Lovable like this, and you type in a message basically of what you want it to build. So we're going to say we want to create an app for recruitment agencies, and we want it to be able to store all of the CVs that come in, rank them, give them a score, etc. Now, before you're able to systemize your business basically, or create operating systems like this, you need to know what people want. You can't just build 4 solutions or 4 automations and expect everybody to want them. So that's why I always recommend to people that while this approach is bad long term, I do think this approach is good for your first 2 to 3 builds or your first 2 to 3 clients, because if a client gives you an issue and tells you to create a solution or create an automation for it, then there's a high likelihood that other people in that industry will have that same problem. So what I would do is I would niche down. Firstly, before anything, you have to niche down, and that's a given. But when I niche down, I would select 3 or 4 builds or 3 or 4 clients in which I would create custom solutions for them. After we create them custom solutions, then I'll try and intertwine them between each client. So for example, if client 1 asked me to build a CV, an AI agent that will read CVs and rank them, then we would build that for him. And then if client 2 said, can you build a backend admin system or something like that, I would then ask both of them clients, hey, I would ask client 1, would you like an admin system? And I would ask client 2, would you like the CV thing? And see how it works between them and if they like that system. If 2 people like it, then there's a very, very, very high likelihood that the rest of that industry or a majority of that industry will have that problem. When you have that automation and you have that solution, then you know I can add this into the operating system, because there's a high likelihood when I target other people in this industry, they're going to be able to use this automation within this operating system. You don't want to add stuff into this operating system that only one client has or only a handful of clients have that sort of issue, because it just overcrowds the operating system and basically adds stuff to an app that you don't really need or that most clients won't actually use. You only want to add stuff into this that the majority of the industry will have as an issue. After then, when we have a couple of these made and we have a couple of automations that we can add into a system, then this becomes infinitely more scalable than just building custom single automations. Because when we now onboard a client, it's not going to take us 1 week to onboard them and then 1 week to test it. Because we have this system here, we're constantly testing it. We're using it for current clients, and when we bring somebody on that's new, we can systemize that whole approach. We can hire staff, tell them exactly what to do for each client to onboard them, rather than trying to hire staff and telling them, look, we have to build a custom solution for each new client. This becomes a lot more scalable. So you can hire staff, you can onboard people quicker, and you can ultimately charge a higher price because you become a master within the 4 solutions, or within the however many solutions that are in your operating system. The reason these operating systems, again, are so good is because as you're building these and you're deploying these for clients, after like 5 to 6 clients, the operating system just keeps getting better and better and better and better, because you keep identifying the issues within the operating system. Because you have 5 to 6 clients now, each client is going to have a specific issue, and when client 1 has an issue, not only can you fix it for him, you can fix it for every client in that operating system. So for every time there's an issue, you get to fix it for all clients. And although maybe client 1 had the issue, client 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are not going to have the issue, because we're going to foresee it and we're going to fix it before they ever get there. So it gives you the opportunity to create really strong systems, and essentially a SaaS. I wouldn't call it a SaaS because we're doing the work and we're still very customizable in a sense, and we're still working with the client, but it is in some sense a SaaS. I would say a mix of a SaaS and an agency, because although we have a productized system, it's not fully productized to the point where the client can just click a button and they're ready to go. They still require us to onboard them, which could maybe take a day or a couple of hours, but we still have it productized enough to the point where onboarding is quick, and we're able to scale this and employ people and teach them exactly how to do it. So if we come over here to Lovable, we can start building this immediately. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say to Lovable, hey Lovable, I want to build a recruitment app in which I will give to my recruitment clients. The general idea of this app is whenever an email comes in with a CV inside it, I will run that through an automation in which it will rank that customer, or will rank that CV applicant, and then it will output a score and a summary of the score for that person. What I need you to do is log these details in a clean, neat table for the recruitment agent to be able to see it and review it, basically. The details that would be outputted from the client, the details that will be outputted from the automation and given to you will be the person's name, the person's email, the person's score, and the person's reasoning for the score. So let's start with these 4 columns in a row, which is neat. Okay, so now the prompt is in. We're going to give this to Lovable, and Lovable is going to create all of what we need for this app, just to add the CV ranking system. Now, while the app is being made, the front end of the app, we're going to create the back end here. So this is the CV applicant, or the CV ranker, in which we're going to build. It's very simple. This is just a demo video to show you kind of how to systemize and how to connect stuff to Lovable. But you can see here we have a 3-module solution. What this is basically going to do is it's going to watch our emails for new CV applicants. Whenever we get an email with a CV applicant, we're going to give it into here, in which we have a prompt telling ChatGPT to rank this customer or rank this CV applicant based on whatever they said in their CV, and then output their name and their email as well. Now, I'll leave all of these modules and all of these make scenarios in the first link in the description, so you can just download them right away and you don't have to build them. But as you can see here, we're basically telling it, reminder, extract the candidate name and email from the CV, score them out of 100 as a number, summarize a detailed 4 to 5 sentence analysis and output this in valid JSON. We need JSON because that is what Lovable is going to accept, and that's how Lovable is going to know how to format whatever we output. So after that outputs it and it ranks the customer CV, then we have this HTTP make a request module, in which in here in a moment we're going to input the URL that Lovable gives us that we can send this CV data to. And when we send it to Lovable, then it's going to rank it and it's going to put this into a neat table for us. Okay, so as we are over here in Make, we're going to click here. We're going to run this module only, and we're going to send information over to Lovable. Now, what we need to send over to Lovable is the information basically that we have inside ChatGPT. So we have an example in ChatGPT just so it knows what we needed to output, and you can see we have that example here. It's John Smith at gmail.com, and he has a score of 85. If we take that and we put that in here just for our example, then we press OK and we come over to Lovable. We can now see in Lovable that information has been processed because we've sent it from Make over to the webhook. It's been stored in Supabase and then it's been presented here on Lovable, or on the app that we've built. So you can see all of the information that we've sent over, and now this recruiter has a neat, clean dashboard in which they can view all of their recruitments or all of their CVs that have been uploaded. Make.com is obviously going to generate the summary based on the CV that they upload. And what I've now done is I've sent a message to Lovable saying I want to implement a send email button. I want to implement a send email button which will auto send an email to candidates. Trigger this webhook when the button is pressed, and we've given it a webhook. Now, the reason for this is we're adding extra functionality to this, and what we are going to do to trigger that webhook is we're going to come over here to Make.com, and we're going to create our second scenario where we have custom webhook and send email. Very straightforward. In this, when we create a new webhook, we're going to copy this webhook address. So just come in here, press add, give it a name and press save, and you will have the option to copy this webhook address. We're going to copy that address. We're going to copy that address, bring it over to Lovable and give it to Lovable, and that's how you will get a message like this. Now, whenever a recruiter comes in here, they can now send emails to that person. So if they like the look of this person, they can just click send email button and it will send an email. So let's give this a test as well. Run webhook. And we come over here to Lovable. And we press send email. It should trigger that webhook. We've got an email sent. It should trigger this webhook. And as you can see, we now have all of John's information over here, and we can now send him an email. So what I'm going to do first is we're going to need to parse this because this is just one big block. And if we go down here to where it says add and we press JSON, we're going to select this and we're going to select parse JSON. This is basically going to turn that big block of text into little variables that we can use. So I'm going to go in here, select this, enter the value of this, and now we should have the ability. Let's test this to see if it works. So let's copy all of this. All of the output that we have. Let's put it in here, and we'll now see our new output, which we have all of these pieces separated. So it was one big block of text up here. Now it's separated into separate variables in which we can use to send this email over here. So the email address that we are sending this to is going to be email up here. Subject is going to be congrats, you are through to the next stage, and we're going to say hi, name, you have made it through to the next stage of this process. Please do this, and maybe the recruiter can add a link, or they can add some sort of action item. Now this is very straightforward. This can be a lot more complex, but just for the sake of this video, we have added this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run this and we're going to test this to see if it works. We're actually going to send the information over to my email. So before we run this, we're actually going to change this so it sends all of the information over to my email. We'll save that, and then we'll run this and we'll see it send an email. So I've sent this button, and then you can see down here it says email sent. And if we come over here to the make scenario, you can see it's just sent me an email, and we can check my emails now to see if that has come through. And now you can see that we have the email over here. It says, "Hi John Smith, you've made it through to the next stage of the process. Please do this." So the email functionality is working, and that's basically what I mean when I say creating AI operating systems rather than just one AI automation built on Make. Okay, what we can do now is we can actually send over a test CV. So I'm going to send over a CV here. So here's a test CV. Let's change this and make it my email. Change this to my email. And we put that in, and we send this over now. Wherever the email agent is set up on, I'm going to trigger that to run. So as you can see over here, we have the email agent here, and we're going to run this on the email that I just sent. Choose where to start, select the first email, and we're going to select this email that I just sent to myself. So we're going to select this, press save. If I run this, it's going to process the email, give it a score, and then send it over to our Lovable or to our backend. And if we come over to Lovable after that has run, if we come over to Lovable now, if we come back over to Lovable, we can now see all of the update info of the CV that I've just sent through. So CV came in, ChatGPT created a summary and then stored it in here. And that's basically the full system. That's how you create an operating system rather than just one single automation. And that's really how you create longevity in this space. All of the links to the prompts and to the make.com scenarios where you can just download will be left in the first link in the description.